Upon loading up the website, the user is presented with a menu of the application. This contains all the species groups the user can view. When the user hovers over a species group, they see a simple representation of how much data that species group contains. Clicking a species group will direct them to a species group view. What we're seeing right here is a list of all the species that the birds contain. We can search for a species and go to a dedicated view just for that species. So we'll go back to the birds view right now to just focus on each visualization of the application and explain its functionality. So the contributor chart shows each contributor which has submitted data for that chosen species group or species. So in this case we're seeing all the data just for birds right now. This pretty much shows how many records they've submitted based on our selections, and currently we have no selections, so we're just seeing all the data at once. Right of this we see a species density map which shows all the zones which the bird has been birds have been found at, and the colours represent the density of the zones. So blue indicates that the zones aren't that dense, but red indicates that the zones are very dense. Because we're working with a sample data set, this isn't represented how it should be correctly across all of North Wales. We're only looking at Anglesey data in this case. So at the bottom we have the species histogram and contributor plots. You can toggle the modes between the species histogram and contributor plots for maybe better viewing of the representation of this data. So if we switch over to histogram plots mode, we're seeing contributor plots, which the line's colour corresponds to the line colour on the contributor chart. We can switch to one more mode, which is the plots mode, and the plots mode just shows the plots, so it's kind of easier to see against the backdrop of nothing being there. We'll switch back to the histogram plots mode now. Here we have a population cloud which shows all the unique species within the species group. So we're viewing all the unique birds that have records. The size of the word is scaled based on how many records that bird has. We can go to a dedicated view for that species by clicking the name here, and then here we are looking at data based on just that species alone. So it's kind of just focus on this species group view again. The interaction is done through the contributor chart, the map, and the histogram. This basically means you can filter the data based on the zone, the contributor chart, the contributor, and the dates. So, for example, we can look at all the data submitted by individuals, which is 9% of the data. If we click individuals, we see all the unique species that they've submitted. These icons will indicate the filters you've currently applied. So we can see the population cloud is affected by the map, the contributor chart, and the histogram. So the contributor chart is affected by the map and the histogram, and then the species density map is affected by itself, the contributor, and the dates, and then the histogram is affected only by the map. So again, the population cloud is now only showing species submitted by individuals, and the map is only showing zones which individuals have submitted data. We can remove the selection just by clicking the species choice icon, or clicking again on that, on individuals. So the map filtering is done by holding down right click and drawing a bounding box. So right now we're viewing only data shown here in this bounding box. Whenever something's filtered, the highlighted zones indicate your current filtering, and the zones that have an opacity to them indicate that it's not occurring in your current filter. So right now we see that the species histogram has scaled itself to the map selection, The contributor chart is scaled to the map selection, and so is the population cloud, so we're only seeing data that was found in this bounding box. If we have trouble looking at the activity on the contributor chart, on the histogram I mean, we can zoom in with the scroll button, or we can hold the icon here to increase the threshold, and we can see small trending data which we weren't able to see in the default mode, as we'll see now. This can scale all the way up so that users can see very small trending data. So what we can do from here is filter even further. So say now we're looking in this bounding box area, this location on the map. We want to see all the data again, but let's say North Wales Wildlife Trust, which is 26% of the data. We're seeing that they only submitted data in this zone based on this bounding box selection. These are the species that have submitted, and we can filter once again by selecting dates. So let's say we want to see 1990 to 1995. We're now seeing that they're only submitting data to one area on angle, well, one area in this bounding box, and this is the data that they've submitted, or the unique species that they've submitted. In that year they submitted 88 records for this species. We can remove these selections individually by again just clicking, or we could just add even more dates to it to filter even further. The animations that we see indicate via the icons which areas of the visualization have been affected by filtering. So right now we've just taken the application right back to its original state. All these filtering options can be done on a species level as well. So again, we can just view data based on its location and the scale based on its date. We don't see any species names here due to a species not really having any sub-names to them. So this application basically allows the user to quickly switch between areas of the application and filter based on stories they want to find.